And the lineup for the second repechage then. Great Britain, crew unchanged from that which took 5th place at Lucerne. Next to them, Netherlands, with one change from the gold medal crew at Lucerne. Then is the Australians, 6th placed at Lucerne. Then the relatively unknown Ukrainians, with no international form this season on the West European circuit there in lane 4. And on the near side, Romania, with 4 girls surviving out of the crew that took the bronze medal at last year's championships.
My word.
So I don't think we're going to have an official false start there. I think that simply one crew broke away from the pontoons. Perhaps the stake boats boys' hands felt a little numb and cold in this weather, and he just loosened his grip marginally. Hold the crews on the level.
The British crew have been awarded a false start for just breaking a little early there. Obviously just leaned on the pressure. Have to say there was a slightly longer delay than normal.
Sliker outfits, I should say, whereas the Romanians have chosen to keep full tracksuits on.
Yes.
A lot of extra weight, I would imagine, in this wet weather.
And if it's been raining, it will be. Well, thankfully, second time of asking, they're all away very cleanly. Unsurprisingly, Britain left last off the blocks. I don't think there's done too much damage to their cause.
So the early leaders from Romania on the near side. As we see in the rerun, they're first to show by just a whisker ahead of the others.
Great shot down the Australian boat here. Concentration. Trying not to grit their teeth, trying to stay relaxed under the pressure. Extreme pressure off the start. They try and lift this dead weight of this boat to get it moving. A flat-out speed that'll carry them through. Great shot, that. We pick the race up now. Just remember, it's 2 to go through to the grand final. And it's a pretty blanket field right now. Romanians, after that clean, efficient start, looking strong, taking them out into the lead. Probably second at the moment is Holland. Third, British crew. Fourth, Australia. Romania have had a very good crew in this event for several years, always have to be taken very seriously. As the crews go through the 500-meter mark, it's as we just said, Romania leading just by about a third of a length.
Looks like the Dutch in second place over on the far side, doesn't it?
From the Dutch and the British, but it's very close between those two.
I think what you were saying about the British men's 8 treating their semi as their final has to be said also of the British women's 8 here. And really giving this one all it's worth. If they could grab a final place, it really would be the success story of the regatta for the British women's squad.
Oh, it'd be a tremendous fillip for the British women. They've got a very interesting crew with Miriam, Batten and Joe Turvey, who were the British pair. Very fine pair who performed with distinction over several years. Katie Pollitt at 6 in this crew, who was actually an 800-meter runner until a few years ago, and has only recently taken up the sport, and as you would expect, a magnificent athlete. Annamarie Stapleton, who won a couple of gold medals in the lightweight Cox's 4, now moved up into the heavyweight event, is at 7 in this crew. So there's plenty of strength and experience in here, but I think it's going to be a tall order for the British girls.
Well, that strength and experience beginning to push them on slightly ahead of the Dutch, but plenty of reserve, I feel sure, out of the Dutch crew. But it's those two crews who are vying for the second qualifying slot behind Romania on the near side, who maintain that lead, and Australia and Ukraine making up the minor placings at the moment.
It's a classic Romanian crew, this. All of the effort going in on that first 3 or 4 feet of the stroke. Crashing that catch in. If you look at the stern of the boat, the way it's bouncing along as they hit that catch each time. Very powerful athletes, these. very strong legs and lower back to enable them to kick that boat through this water, and well, a crew to be taken very seriously indeed, I'd say. So the Dutch and the British are still in a neck-and-neck struggle for that second qualifying place, with the Australians just lurking there in fourth position. Very little to choose between the Dutch and the British right now. Romanians with that all-important third of a length lead. The British having a big push now, just gained a couple of men. Or at least a couple of ladies.
The Romanian bow pair looking across, seeing the challenge coming, because of course it does mean that the tussle that's developed here between the Dutch and the Britons means that the pressure is on, and those two eights in second and third are coming back on the Romanians. As you can see, they're moving up steadily. Look at the bow balls of crews 1 and 2 in relation to the heads of the Romanian gills.
It's a great race developing here over this last 500 meters, last quarter of the race. Only 2 to go through to the grand final. We've got 4 crews in contention. Romania lead this very good quality field here by about third of a length from the British, who've got a couple of feet, maybe a canvas over the Dutch, who've in turn got about half to 3/4 of a length over the Australians. But I feel the Dutch starting to come back, starting to pile on the pressure. British girls must not tie up. This Romanian crew like a metronome over on this side of the course, not giving an inch. Tremendous performance from the Romanians. Tremendous fight over on the far side for that second qualifying place. And I'd say it's neck and neck now between the British and the Dutch with 20 strokes to go, 25 strokes to go. Australia pushing back through as well. Ukraine bringing up the rear there. A great shot of that Romanian crew. Starting to look a little bit anxious, a little bit tense. Neck and neck, perhaps a couple of feet in it now as Holland moves slightly ahead of Britain, and the Australians start to come through very strongly over this last 5 or 10 strokes. It's a fine race here.
Only 2 to qualify as these 4/8s come down to the line, and it really is anybody's race, but the experience and the Dutch really carrying them through the last 10 strokes. A crew that's virtually unchanged from that which took the gold medal at Lucerne 6 weeks ago, and they are now level with the Romanians. It's Holland and Romania who hold on to the 2 qualifying slots. Holland crossed the line ahead of Romania. Australia in 3rd slot. They, along with the Britons in 4th, fail to make the grand final. But a great race to wind down on this, the semi-finals day.
That's a really magnificent performance by all the athletes in those boats there. I'd very much like to see the split times over that last 500. I suspect that whilst the Netherlands went quick relative to Romania and Britain, I tell you, I think that Australia went very quick indeed over that last 500. Just left themselves a little too much to do. Almost identical time to that first heat there. Confirmation: the Netherlands first, Romania second, Australia third, Britain 4, Ukraine 5.